Hey everyone, welcome back to the Suburban Redneck channel. I apologize, I have not posted anything in quite some time, but I picked up a new 6.5 Creedmoor project for the channel. I did get rid of the Axis project. I just kind of lost interest in it. I've owned several Savages over the years, and I'm really not a fan of the trigger setup on those guns or the design of them. I really prefer the single enclosed unit type triggers that, places like Timney and Rifle Basics and stuff like that offer for like the 700 and ARs and things like that. So I wanted to switch back to a platform that allowed me to not have to just change out springs and things like that to have to make it a decent trigger. So picked this up last night. It is a Remington 700 ADL tactical in 6.5 Creedmoor, like I said. How you see it is exactly how it came. It is a OD green, injection molded stock with these black rubberized, I guess texture panels or grip panels here. It's a heavy barrel. It's a 24-inch that is threaded half by 28 down there on the end. I loosened the protector a little bit just so you could see. Um, the only thing I've done, you can see the box is literally right here, and I apologize for my gunroom being a disaster right now. But long story short, the only thing I've done to the gun is just basically clean it. Um, I already have a scope picked out for it that I just bought last night. It's nothing crazy, but it should do well as a base for this. But as you see, it is how it came from the factory. So it's got the X Mark Pro adjustable trigger. I have altered that some. I've lowered the pull weight on it. But I will say, right out of the box, this thing is pretty well put together. You hear a lot of bad things about Remington nowadays. And so I was kind of reluctant. I basically bought this knowing I was gonna, have to dial it in. And I, in a shopping cart online already had, a new one-piece base and a Timney trigger and a new stock and all this stuff ready to go in it. Um, and I figured right out of the bat I was gonna have to go and spend, $500-600 just to get this thing shootable. But I'll say that so it came from the factory with this nice one-piece steel base. It has 6x48 screws. They're not the cheap little filler screws. The X Mark Pro, so mine, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but mine does not have the screw that goes through the trigger. So mine is adjustable, but I had to pull the action out of the stock. And Remington, so to prevent you from modifying the trigger, they put like a clear nail polish or like an epoxy over the adjustment screws that you basically have to dig out with like a pick and some sort of like solvent before you can even get the screws to the screws with a 1/16 hex bit. So long story short, I tried a variety of different cleaners. You can see up there I've got, kind of all the basic stuff: Rem oil, rubbing alcohol, ballistol. None of them would cut through this stuff. So I finally had to break out Sweet 762 and let that sit on it for about 5 minutes or so, and I was finally able to get it to break out. And you can see here I've got a chunk of what I dug out. It's like a clear epoxy almost. I don't know how to describe. It's like not quite as thick as two-part epoxy, but not as thin as, I don't know where it went, but not as thin as like nail polish. So I'm told that if you were to send this trigger back to Remington with that missing, it voids the warranty. I'm not particularly worried about it because my long-term plan is to probably put a Timney in it. So if something ends up happening to this one, then it'll just speed up my timeline of doing that. So, the trigger was crisp, right? There was, no take up in it, no over travel. It was just heavy. So, you'll see here, it is unloaded before anyone jumps on me here. Nothing in there. Nothing in there. as well as I've visually inspected this rifle because I was working on it earlier. I know for a fact it's unloaded. I'm the only adult who has access to this room. So the only things I've done, like I said, adjusted the trigger down to probably, I mean, it might be 2 pounds. It's not hair light, but it's very crisp, and you can see it just doesn't have much travel to it, which is the way I like it. I don't like two-stage triggers. And then the other thing I did, like always, is I pulled the base off, degreased everything, cleaned it really well. From the factory, Remington actually used thread locker on it, so I just kind of wire wheeled the screws a little bit to get some of that off. And then blue Loctited everything back on, and pulled it out of the stock, which I'll give it to Remington. The stock for an injection molded stock is a lot more comfortable than anything I've had recently from Savage or even the Rugers. Those up here by the stock or up here by the fore end are very, like, there's a lot of flex, and you can't load them on a bipod because they literally bend so bad. So people are doing all kinds of crazy stuff, like, epoxying arrows in there, or, filling it up with rock gall, which is like a concrete type material, just to try to make it a rigid stock. So this one right here is pretty rigid. I'm surprised. When I had the action out of it, there's really a nice spider webbing in there for support. And you can see that the gun's really well rested on just this little Midway USA rear shooting bag, but it's got this flared target front end right here. And so it really is comfortable in the hands, especially if you prefer kind of a bigger palm swell area up here around where this rubberized section is. So, like I mentioned, it's going to be another project. We're going to start hopefully this weekend with a base 0 for it. I still have a bunch of ammo from my Axis 6.5 project. So I'll probably end up holding off on the Timney. So when I go out and shoot this thing tomorrow, if it ends up doing pretty well, I will likely not jump on getting a new trigger, and maybe I'll put that a little further down the list. In the meantime, though, I think I am going to switch the stock, though, at some point. Once so basically what I'm going to do is, after this video, I'll make another one of the scope that I'm putting on it and things like that. And then I'll make a kind of baseline 0 grouping after report type video for it, so we can see what it shot. Kind of right out of the box, I'll say, quote. And then I know I'm going to end up switching the stock. Not because there's anything wrong with this one, but I really want to switch it to a mag-fed style. So I think what I'm likely going to do is end up putting the Magpul Hunter on it. There's some pretty stellar deals on those right now, so I'll likely do that. But that's it. I apologize again for the lack of videos for quite some time. And also, for those of you that saw the video about the Winchester Model 70 that I picked up, I haven't done a lot with that, but I have done some things, so I'll make a video of that coming up, just to kind of show you where it is. I did deer hunt with that one this season, so I was kind of reluctant to make changes of it mid-season and then have to go recite it in and things like that. So anyway, hope you enjoy it, and stay tuned in the next couple of days. There will be more content on this rifle. All right.